A monstrous lobster man is fished from the sea, only to create havoc aboard the Seaview.
Peace.
What? General Couldve?
You've broken your promise and you're heading for port.
Arrest him.
The Lobster Man on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, right here on this channel.
First, we got Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which is the classic. And then we got the fucking Lobstermen, the Lobstermen. And then we got this.
After 100 years in a cryonic cylinder, the amazing Captain Nemo returns. The underwater war of the century. Nautilus, the super submarine of yesterday, encounters the Raven, the nuclear marvel of tomorrow.
Fire Delphi!
From out of the past and into the future comes Jules Verne's the amazing Captain Nemo. After 100 years in a cryonic cylinder, the amazing Captain Nemo returns to fight an undersea war exploding with spectacular action.
Soon the world will know what power we possess.
Nothing in this world can stop me. Your position here is hopeless.
This doomsday machine has the world in a vice.
"33,000 feet. We're nearing the bottom of the Mindanao Trench."
Captain Nemo on a voyage into the unknown.
Nemo escaped.
Kill Nemo! Kill the others! Kill! Fire at once!
The most exciting undersea adventure ever filmed.
And hello and welcome to season 5 of It Could Have Been a Classic. And this week we're going back to 1978. And I thought we'd start with this sort of like with a bit of a bang. Yes, the legend himself, Captain Nemo. This is insane. Right, where do I start? Right. The Return of Captain Nemo, the theatrical title, The Amazing Captain Nemo, is a 1978 American science fiction adventure television miniseries directed by Alex March and Paul Stader. The latter directed the underwater sequences and loosely based on characters and settings from Jules Verne. The 1870 novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was written by 6 screenwriters, including Robert Bloch, and has been considered an attempt by producer Irwin Allen to duplicate the success of his Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. This is an interesting one. This was originally made as a 3 to 4 part TV series. It flopped. The ratings were dismal. And there is a number of reasons why. Now, I'm going to cover the story in a minute, but I thought we'd go into this first. They had 6 writers, screenwriters on this, and for each episode, there were 2 different writers. And this thing is full of more fucking plot holes than anything else. When I watched it this week, now I did see this at the cinema when I was a kid, on my birthday, actually. And it was on telly, and it looks amazing. Now, this thing, The Return of Captain Nemo, has it all. Burgess Meredith looks like he's just come out of the pub. He's a super genius scientist. Jules Ferrer, I think it's Jules Ferrer. Let me take a look. I'm just going over my notes now. You know, Jules Ferrer. Yep, it's Jules Ferrer. He plays Captain Nemo. And they find him in a cryogenic tube, and it looked like he's been smoking cannabis for the last century. I mean, this is insane, right? Right, we're going to cover the story in a minute. But there was a lot of problems with this. You know, there really was. Now, the interesting thing, in 1978, The Return of Captain Nemo received 2 Emmy Award nominations for outstanding individual achievement in any area of creative technical crafts. These were for Frank Vander's optical effects and L.B. Abbott's special photographic effects. Are you fucking kidding me? Right, so let's go into the plot.
Thank you. Now, Akator is twice as big an area as Washington, D.C. And I now intend to eliminate that island as proof of my ability and of my determination to do as I say that I'll do. Will you activate the turret?
Soon the world will know what power we possess.
So the plot, right? It's actually, I'm going to say this about this film. There is a lot of action in it, right? And it's got everything. You've got Atlantis, the lost continent. I'm not making this up. Laser guns under the sea, robots and androids. And, do you know what I mean? And the dodgy guy that works for the American government sat in an office all the time, giving people missions, right? So it starts off that Professor Cunningham, Burgess Meredith, threatens to blackmail the world for $1 billion, right? And he just phones up the president on a video phone, right? And he's combing his fucking hair, right? Right, and he's got the most ridiculous android. It's sort of like, I suppose it's got Wi-Fi because it sort of has like psychic images, like it can see stuff, do you know what I mean, around his submarine. Now he's got this super advanced technological marvel of a submarine called the Raven, which I've got to admit I did quite like it. Now I love this bridge interior. I cannot complain about that. The bridge interior of the Raven is marvelous. Even now, I think it looks quite futuristic. And I actually do like Burgess Meredith as this character. I think he plays it and amps it up really well. But there's just a load of plot holes in this. So he blackmails like the world, right? He's going to destroy Washington, D.C. with his missile. But he's got the Delta beam, right? And now he threatens to blow up the island of Akapoa, which is the size of Delaware. And he says to like stupid android next to him, prepare the turret and fire the Delta beam. So they blast off the Delta beam, Akapoa, wherever this place is, gets wiped out in a second. He says, you've got 8 o'clock till next Thursday. I want $1 billion. Meanwhile, the US Navy's on operations, and 2 of the naval people are underwater. And I don't know, they're looking around. It never really explains what they're doing on maneuvers. But these 2 agents, these top like agents that work for this secret agency,
end up finding the Nautilus under this undersea ridge, and they go aboard, and they're walking, and they're looking around. They're going, "What's this?" You know, it's like this submarine. It shouldn't exist. So they're going to this room, and they see this like tube, and it's full of smoke. And the door opens, and out comes Captain fucking Nemo, like it's like not a problem. He goes, "What year is it?" He says, "It's 1978." And like, yeah, okay. No, like it's 127 years later. Like, you're gonna have a big head fuck. Do you know everybody you know is gone? No, it just comes out and goes, "Who are you, gentlemen?" And I must finish my odyssey and find the lost continent of Atlantis. And it's like, that's it. And these two dudes, right? When he tells them he had nuclear power at 127 years, they're so like blown away by his arrogance and his genius, right? Said, "Look, well, they're trapped under this like ridge, and then US Navy's training or whatever, firing depth charges, and it dislodges his submarine." And these two guys said, "Look, we can help you out here, but you know, there's a mission. Like, we can get you submarine provisions and get it refitted." So anyway, they're talking in. They go to Pearl Harbor. Now, wasn't Captain Nemo 100 years ago knocking off ships, and they were on a mission? You know, but it's, well, we won't go into the classic book, right? And I'm not, the Disney movie's a masterpiece. It really is, right? So they end up going to Pearl Harbor, and we get all the grand music. You remember back in the 70s, see White House, and they always had that really like powerful music, didn't they? You know, like democracy. Do you know what I mean? You know, we're all like the center of civilization. So they go to Pearl Harbor. And then they end up in the office block, which I never really figured out the office block were next to Pearl Harbor, but it is, right. So I'm not right. And they meet Miller, the boss, right? And he was in Star Trek, actually. Do you remember the episode with them from the Andromeda Galaxy? It's him, right? So he's playing the boss, like, you know, suit and tie. And he says, "I've been looking for you too," when they come through secret entrance in his office. And they said, "You're not going to believe who we've got with us." And he's going, "What?" He says, "Well, we have Captain Nemo." So him and Nemo don't get on. And then this guy, one at Spy Dudes, I mean, these two just got no personality whatsoever. But I don't even remember the name because they're that unimportant, right? Said to him, "Look, it's got a submarine. It can go 60 knots, and that's half speed. So it can go 120 knots underwater, and it can go down like 6,000 feet and not even bother even further, right? I mean, it goes down 40,000 feet, right? So, like, it's all pretty sort of mind-blowing. This, like, Millergate office is like, "Oh, right, then, this is interesting." And they sort his submarine out, and he goes on his odyssey, and Miller phones him up. They're giving him a video phone, Nemo. And Miller's going, look, we have a problem. There's this madman, he's a genius, and he's got this amazing submarine. He's gonna destroy Washington, D.C. next week. And we need you to stop him. And Nemo's going, "Yeah, but I want to go find Atlantis." But he said, and Miller's going, "Well, you know, we did all that for you." He's going, "All right, I'll do this for you. Not a problem. I'll go sort this guy out and get rid of him." So him and the crew, I mean, he's just met this crew and these two dudes, only known them 2 days, but he trusts them. I mean, it's all like, there's none of this gone into it. They all just like, they're loyal to him within 2 days. So Nemo goes off, meets Professor, well, they goes off and they find the Raven, and it's like, he's going, "I need to go aboard his fucking submarine because I need to measure my opponent." And oh, bollocks. I mean, there's no like, right. Do you know what I mean? There's no like, depth to it, but it is 1970s. You know what I mean? And you know what science fiction were like back then. And it's like the go aboard the submarine, and there's this like, Professor Cunningham's going like, "What, you're Captain Nemo?"
you know, my opponent, a genius equal to me, and there's a shootout, and they're running around fucking submarine and all this, and they get off the submarine. I mean, they've got a stupid fucking android called Thor, and I don't know what he's meant to be. I mean, he's the thickest android I've ever seen. But there is an amazing laser gun spaceship. I mean, I can't complain. There is stuff in this that just draws you in. I mean, I've got to say I did enjoy watching this.
I assumed you'd be visiting. But you seem to be a rather pathetic expeditionary force, sir.
We are sufficient, Professor.
And who are we?
Commander Tom Franklin, United States Navy.
I'm Captain Nemo of the Nautilus.
The Captain Nemo?
At your service, sir.
Others! Kill!
So, like, they're running around from submarine. They escape and they get back to Nautilus. And he's going to launch his missile an hour earlier or something. He sets the timer off. Launches it up, bangs one off to Washington. He bangs one. I mean, launches it to Washington, right? And Nemo's going down to one of daft agents he's got with him. Turn up the reactor, so they go to like super nuclear power, right? And he fires this like ray beam from the Nautilus and destroys the missile. Big explosion. Then you get the standard, you know, when they're all like shaking around and all that, void to the bottom of the sea, where they're all being thrown all over the place, right? So you get that. And then the plot gets even more fucking ridiculous, right? Because they have to go back to Pearl Harbor because he goes to the Mindanao Trench where all the nuclear waste is stored. And that's how he powers his submarine, you know, Professor Cunningham, the Raven, right? So he charges it, but not giving a shit about the environment, just lets out radiation leak and fucks off, right? And then Miller calls Nemo and says, look, we need you to go to Mindanao Trench. We have a fucking problem. Radiation's coming out. You need to sort it out. So anyway, Nautilus turns up. And Nemo works out that it's him. What he's doing, he don't care. And like there's a bit of a shootout and around the Mindanao Trench. And Nemo projects holograms at fucking Nautilus. He does, right? And the big explosion, laser guns going off underwater, and all this like trench collapses in, seals off the radiation, and then somehow submarine gets control because they've got a spy on board. The two people that picks up this greedy nuclear physicist and this lady, Linda Day George. Now she was a babe back then, she was. And it works out that the submarines he can't control. They end up in a fucking minefield. Like you remember how submarine movie, like Roger at the bottom of saying all these other submarine movies. They end up in the minefield. Well, they end up there, and Nemo works out they've got a spy on board, and this guy's sabotaging it. He's got a necklace communicator speaking Burgess Meredith, Professor Cunningham, and he's going, "I'll double what I'll pay you." And, you know, he said he'll have a mini submarine. You can escape in that and we'll pick you up, as if I'm going to trust you, right? But then Nemo comes in, big sword fight. He defeats him. He gets killed. You remember these all fall back into electrical circuit stuff? And all sparks had come out. They did a lot of that back in 60s and 70s. I mean, they weren't really up safe on electronics, were they? So he heads off to Atlantis now, and they find Atlantis. Oh, fuck you. They get to Atlantis now. There's no women there. Just a load of fellas. Honestly, they go into this like abandoned city. It's all in ruins, and they're all like mind blown. It's fucking Atlantis, right? And this energy shield surrounds the Nautilus. And this dude comes aboard in a toga and pretends he can't speak English. And he starts touching levers, and then Nemo like says, "Don't touch that, it's dangerous." And he says, "You do understand what we're saying." And it all comes out that Professor Cunningham had been there and kidnapped a load of people. So, you know, and like they go meet the Atlantean Council. It's just a load of fellas sat on like rocks and a cheesy cardboard throne. And and they don't trust him, but Nemo pulls out a laser beam and vaporizes part of the throne room. And the king, they've only met this dude for 10 minutes, right? And suddenly they trust him, right? And they go about Nautilus, but they've all been frozen back. Oh, I'm not making this up, the fucking Z-ray, right? And then it's a mission to go find him, because obviously they go over and meet Professor Cunningham on his fucking submarine, load of running about. Again, he catches Nemo on board his submarine, and he's got the brain drain machine. He's going to absorb all Nemo's knowledge and make him the extreme genius of the planet, because he's his equal. And it's like Nemo resists, and suddenly Miller, the guy in the office, right, he's going, these men serve me, but we only answer to one person on this red telephone. It's like, oh, fuck off, right? And Nemo's going, listen to your boss, listen to your boss. And suddenly this, like, the agent dude rips off the mind control collar, and he picks up the ray gun and freezes the entire Raven Bridge crew. They're all frozen. Everybody's frozen. And then they escape, and they find out 2 Atlanteans that went with them work for Cunningham, but they're under mind control. And they free them. They all escape, right? But, like, again, another plot hole is they froze everybody on the fucking bridge, right, of this super submarine. Well, they're all like frozen like that with a Z-ray, right? But they fuck off and escape. And I'm like, well, you've got the submarine, surface it and let, you know, the police board it. I don't know, the Navy or whatever. But they escape. And then suddenly we have a big shootout.
Fire at once!
The most exciting undersea adventure ever filmed.
So now you're going to ask the question, could this have been a classic? Now, this is a joint production between Warner Brothers and Irwin Allen's production company. And this was his last thing he did for television. So I sort of have a lot of sympathy with this, you know, because I can see what he was trying to do. He was like trying to somehow hoping to bring something back like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Now, I love cool submarines, and I love that control room, and I thought the Raven were a cool submarine. And the concept of this genius scientist looked like she's come out of the pub, right? Burgess Meredith, I love the character of Professor Cunningham. Now, the problem is, it's full of fucking plot holes. I mean, major plot holes. It's how people come together and stuff. You know, there's no, like, you've got to grow relationships and that with people. And I don't know, I think with today, where we are now, there's more grey areas in television programs, and we get hooked into that depth of it. But this, I'm not going to knock this, because I can see the vision of what this could have been. Now, basically, you've got Captain Nemo running around the oceans in 1978, meeting aliens and lost continents and crazy scientists and all that. This film is magical. It has it all. Even the music's pretty cool. So this, but I mean, it is hilarious. I mean, when they're all shaking about, I mean, it's got all the Voice of the Bottom Sea things in this. But, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, some of the characters, they should have just got rid of them. Like the 2 agents that work with Jules Ferrer, he plays it as this insane genius. Do you know what I mean? And I think it works well. And Burgess Meredith, like I said, plays the part. I think he's just having a good time, getting a good paycheck. You know what I mean? So, but I love crazy science fiction, and this is definitely it. Now, there is something in here, where you could have done a weekly series of standalone episodes and the odd 2-parter, where they're exploring the ocean, stopping environmental disasters. I mean, you start going down the Sequest thing and like the Voyage thing. And I reckon you could. I think this should have come out in about 72, or I think before 78, because 78 were all changing. Star Wars were out, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Barnett Man were finishing. It were like this is the last of that crazy science that like Logan's run the TV series. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There was that other series where they went to fucking Bermuda Triangle. Fantastic Journey. All that will come to an end now by this time. And I think science fiction will moving into next decade. You know, I mean, next gen's only about 10 years away. No, well, it's 9 years away from this. I mean, 87, wasn't it? So things were changing. But I love cheesy science fiction. I think if this had come out a couple of years earlier, at the peak of all this, I think you could have got possibly 1 or 2 seasons before this got cancelled. You know, and I think a few casting changes. But I mean, the set, you know, is awesome. I love the set, and it's just brilliant, and it's magical. And there's something about this. Now the question is it gonna go through? It could have been a classic. This is a difficult one because, like I said, I see the vision for this, and I'm gonna put it through. Fuck it. It deserves. This is 2 weeks now. Burgess Meredith has got through. I love this. I saw this when I saw the trailer as a kid on television. It blew me away. Now it's a family drama or a kids drama, and you've got to realize that it's 2021. But I've got this love for this terrible, like B-rated science fiction cancelled stuff. I think as a series, this could have worked. Maybe it would have been nice to have had at least 22 episodes of 1 season. And I think today it would have been really well loved, like Voyage at Bottom at Sea. I mean, Voyage at Bottom at Sea was good. I've got it on DVD, and I'm a big fan of it. I love the submarine, the sea view, the shots of it. A beautiful series, but then it started off with some awesome stories in there. Then it did turn fucking stupid. The Lobstermen, I don't even go there with the puppets, right? But that's what we loved about it. But that was of its time. This would like towards the transformation into a new level of science fiction. Do you know what I mean? But there is a love for this, and I don't even think this has a cult following. So it's been a difficult one, and I don't know, for childhood prosperity, I want to put this through, and you know, let me know your thoughts on this. I'm going to put the amazing Captain Nemo through. Yeah, I'm going to put it through.